Hey everyone, Victoria from Enchanted Memories Travel, and I just wanted to take a few minutes to go over the answer to the question that I get a lot when it comes to Disney. How do I book a trip and what do I need to do in order to book my trip? So I give you a kind of a little bit of a list of the main things that we need to get accomplished before you actually book your trip. So the first thing is know when you want to go. A lot of you will have kids and they are school-age children, so you are probably planning your trip around a school break. Which break is that? How long do you want to go? What days would you like to be there? When would you like to leave? Are you able and willing to pull your kid out of school a few days early or send them back a few days late in order to maybe get some cheaper flight options? I live in Indianapolis, and I know, for example, on Southwest during a non-peak time, it's about $100 each way per person to go to Disney. In a peak time, like a break for school, it's about $300 per person per way. It jumps significantly. So asking yourself that pretty important question and maybe asking your kids' teachers, could I pull them out? Would they be missing stuff? Could I do the stuff on the plane, etc.? So you definitely want to know when you're going to be going. There used to be non-peak times for Disney, but that is pretty much gone because people like me who have little kids that aren't in school yet make sure that we go when it's not a school break. So you're going to be having crowds no matter when you go. So it's just a matter of what works for your family, what works for your schedule. And you can bring those ideas to me and we can kind of go over the pros or the cons depending on what time of year it is that you're looking for. Obviously in the summer, it's really, really hot. So if you have super little kids, I might try to push you towards maybe a fall date if possible. In the winter time, if you're a really big swimmer, the kids might be able to swim, but it's going to be pretty cold when they get out, even though the water's heated. And you as the parent might be a little more chicken to get in than your kids. So really ask yourself what your family structure is and what that means for the time of year that you want to be going. You want to know if you're going to try to attend a party. There's a Halloween party and there's a Christmas party. Both are awesome events to go to, and I would encourage you to think about going to one if you're there during August, September, October for Halloween, November, December for Christmas. The perks about going to one of those parties, they are an additional cost. They're not included in a park ticket for one of the days, and it's only an evening activity to do. But the perks are you get to meet some characters that you wouldn't normally get to meet, like the Seven Dwarfs all together. You're not going to see that on a normal day at Disney. So that'd be kind of cool. Things like that, Jack and Sally, etc. So you got to do that. There are really cool parades that you get to see that you wouldn't normally get to see, and the decorations are awesome. You can also see those without going to a party, but you're going to have the full effect if you're there during the party night. Next, what promotions are happening? Disney offers promotions throughout the year. There's different things. A lot of them are usually some sort of percentage discount, so maybe 20% off your room if you book a room and you have dining or your tickets, whatever. So they have promotions like that. They also have one that's a pretty big deal called free dining. They do it we can't guarantee that they're going to do it, but it seems to be a fall promotion if and when they do it. The sad part is it's only a percentage of rooms at resorts that get it. So not everyone that is going during the dates that free dining are offered are going to get it, but some people at each resort will get it. There's also usually a corresponding opportunity to have a percentage off discount. If you are going during the fall and if they have free dining, we can definitely look at that as an option for you, but we'll also look at the percentage off discount and see if it's a better deal for you because it might be depending on your party size and depending on your dining needs. For example, this year, people staying at a value or a moderate resort are only getting the quick service meal plan, which for my family, I love the sit-down meals. If you saw my previous video about the meal plan, you know that I'm a big proponent of the middle meal plan, the Disney dining plan. So that wouldn't be the best deal for me because I'd still be paying out of pocket for those sit-down restaurants. If you were staying at a deluxe resort, then that would be the Disney dining plan free dining option. So more on the dining plan promotion if you're interested and if it happens at a time that you're going. But definitely we'll make sure that we look at the promotions that are happening when you're going and we can make sure that we apply them if you are going during a peak promotion time. Work schedules and family schedules. Please make sure that you know what type of schedule you're going to have as far as when that comes. So if you only have, 5 days each year and they roll over as far as vacation time, well, plan ahead so you know that you have to save a couple of those if you're doing a week-long trip, etc. Make sure you know your policies as far as before and after breaks if you're a teacher or in the school industry of some sort, and make sure you have talked to the other people in your party about what their time off looks like, because everyone's a little bit different. And then ask yourself if you want to bring people with you. It might be more expensive as an overall cost to have other adults with you, but maybe you can get a room that holds more people, or maybe, your parents or your siblings were also thinking about going to Disney and you guys could all go together. The reason I want to bring up going as a bigger group versus just your family is that more hands on deck means more adult time should you want it. Disney's pretty exhausting for parents. There's a lot of walking, there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of dealing with, temperamental children in lines and the heat. So if you have other people in your family that have also been wanting to go to Disney, why not try to make it out the same time? And then you guys can help each other. And it'd be really a nice opportunity for some date nights at Epcot, which would be really fun. If you have, one parent stay back with, two sets of kids, families, and then the other parents go off, vice versa. If grandparents are there, I'm sure they'd love to get some quality time with the kids. So just think about that. If you have other people in your family that were potentially going to Disney, might as well pull your resources together. And there's some opportunities to cut costs if you go as a bigger group, which we can talk about too. The next thing is your budget. You need to have a really good understanding of what your budget is going forward, and you need to make sure that you're communicating it with me as your agent so I can stick to it. I'm pretty budget savvy. I'm a couponer. I love saving money. I thrive on finding deals, and I will save you money just as I would my own when it comes to going to Disney. In order to do that, though, we need to make sure that we have a realistic budget set in place, and you need to make sure that you're telling me what it is. We can plan a trip for Disney for a family of 4 from 2,000 to 20 and above. No two trips are going to look the same because no two families are going to have the same interests and desires as far as what their trip looks like. It depends on what type of house resort you're staying at. If you want to get certain meals while you're there, how many days do you want to go to the park? Are you flying? Are you driving? Etc. So definitely make sure that we sit down and we have a conversation about budget, and just be prepared for a little bit of sticker shock when it comes to Disney. And just know that, you might be spending $200-300 per night on a hotel, and it might not feel like maybe what you would get in your hometown by staying at a $200-300 night per hotel. But I promise it all kind of culminates to make an amazing experience. So ask yourself, what kind of environment is it that you're wanting at that resort? Are you wanting something super kid-friendly and animated and cartoons? Are you wanting something really laid back? Are you wanting something really close to the parks? Are you wanting something close to one specific park versus the other? What is it that you want from that actual resort stay? And if we can kind of talk about that, then we'll make sure that we hit the right resort for you so you enjoy your time away from the parks, especially if you have a day or two that you're not going to the parks. Make sure you know what your kids are interested in as far as Disney. If there are things that they love, we want to make sure that we get those accomplished. If there are certain characters they'd love to meet, or certain rides they'd want to do. If there are things they hate or they're scared of, especially if they're little, make sure that we know that too. So if your kid is petrified of Winnie the Pooh, well, let's make sure that we stay away from that. But if they love princesses, let's go that route. So just have an idea of what your kids are into, or you think they will be into by the time you go on your trip. If you want to do things beyond just go to Disney, there are plenty of opportunities to do other things in Florida. So if you are somebody that only is able to do a vacation every few years with your family, let's talk about how do we get the most experiences while we're there. So maybe your trip is a week long or 8 days, and you are able to go to Disney for 4 days and then maybe go to the beach for a few days. How are we going to stretch this vacation so it fits kind of all of your needs and wants? So if that's something you want to consider, there are cruises, there's Universal Studios, there's the beach, etc. We can make sure that we hit something additionally should you want to extend your trip. And then lastly, the big question is, how do I book it, or what do I need to do? So after you've thought of those things, you'll hopefully come to me to help you plan your trip, and I will sit down with you. We'll look at all your options. We'll kind of set together what our budget is, what type of hotel you're going to stay at, how many days you're going to go to the park. We'll list all that stuff out. I'll give you a nice little proposal and a quote. And then once you're content with what we've decided, you feel good about it, then we will take a $200 deposit. It goes straight to Disney. I don't take it. I'll pass all your information on to Disney. And that $200 gets your reservation on hold. It is completely refundable $200 that you can have up until 30 days before your trip. So if something changes or you need to push back the dates because something happens, no problem. We can do that. We can make any changes like that actually 30 days before your trip. So should, heaven forbid, somebody gets sick or a schedule changes or your kid makes it to the championship games, we can push your trip absolutely, or we can cancel it. The $200 though, completely refundable. And then as far as your payment for your trip, you actually don't have to pay your trip off in full up until 30 days before your trip, which is really nice. The nice thing though about making sure that you have your trip booked early is that 180 days before your trip is when we will book your dining. If you have little kids and they want to see characters, you saw my video probably about the meal plan, so you know that I'm a big proponent of making sure we get these sit-down meals. If that's the case, I want to make sure that I'm on the phones at 7 a.m. 180 days before your trip so I can get you all those dining reservations that you're wanting. And then 60 days before your trip is when we will do your fast passes. But as long as I have at least 6 months before your trip, it's going to make sure that I feel confident getting all of the dining experiences that you want. And it's not a mad dash at the end right before your trip trying to get them all for you so you have the trip that you've been hoping for. So $200 and your trip is set and ready to go, and that's it. So let me know how I can help you, how I can help your family, I can help your friends plan your Disney trip, and I would love to be a part of your trip.